Hi everybody, hi Dawn. Oh, can you hear him in the background? I'm in the back bedroom and you can hear the birds in the trees out the back garden. They're always singing. Okay, just see if a few more join us before we start. How's everybody's Sunday so far? It's pretty quiet around here. Hi Tamara. How you doing? Okay, so I'll make a start. I'm going to make a tag today, and I'm a bit of a pack rabbit. I tend to keep everything. So this is what I'm going to be working with. Now, one of these is one of those, I don't know how to describe it. It's a bit cardboard. You know when you buy a new pair of like trainer socks or something, your socks are sort of displayed on this in the shop. Well, I thought, you know what, I'm going to save that and it's going to make a nice tag. So I'm going to start off. That's what I've got to start with. And I'm also going to be using some air dry clay. So I'm just going to open up my packet here that keeps it nice and moist so it doesn't dry out. Sorry for the rustling. Okay. So it's nice and gooey, this piece here. Just going to roll it around in my hands for a little bit. Hi Elizabeth. Just going to give this a good roll. Now, we were talking about anti-static bags yesterday. I've got two. I've got the embossing buddy that they use, and I've got one that I made myself. It's just a pair of tights. I cut both feet out of the tights, put one foot inside the other, filled it with corn flour and a bit of baby powder, and that's my anti-static bag, and it works brilliantly. It works just as good as one of these that you buy. So, right. So I'm just going to start off by rolling the air dry clay. I've got a little mini rolling pin here. I'm just going to put some powder on there so it doesn't stick. And then roll it out as if you were rolling pastry. Okay. I get it to about a bit thinner than that. Yeah, it's about that. Just wait for my camera to catch up so you can see how thick I've rolled it. That's it. Okay. Now I'm going to be working with one of Lisa's new stamp sets. So we've got the Mandala collection, and this is the Choose Happy. And I'm going to be using the two smaller ones. So I'm just going to take that one out of there, that large one. And I've got a nice round acrylic block here, and then I'm going to stamp that onto the air dry clay. Now, I wouldn't use silicone stamps to do this because it's quite squidgy, but these photopolymer ones will take the air dry clay very well. And I tend to give it a good push down, not too hard, just a bit of pressure until you get a good imprint. If you want to, you can run your rolling pin across it as well, like so. That gives it a bit of leverage, and then gently lift up and you'll get that imprint. Now, any bits of air dry clay in your stamps you need to wash off immediately. Well, I've got a little bowl of water beside me, and I'm just going to drop that stamp into it, and it'll keep it wet until I get to wash it. Okay. Then cookie cutter. I've got a cookie cutter here that's got a scalloped edge and a straight edge. So I'm going to be using the scalloped edge, and I'm just going to line that over the top as if you were cutting a cookie, like that, like so, and there you go. It's a mandala shaped piece of air dry clay. Okay, so you need to leave that overnight to dry, ideally 24 hours till it's dried completely. So I'm just going to pop mine onto a flat board, a flat surface here, like that, and let that dry. Okay, so in true Blue Peter fashion, I have made some already. So I'm just going to put this back in its bag. So yeah, you know, look at your stamps, you can do other things with them. Now I'm going to start off doing some stenciling, and I've got the medieval stencil here, some makeup sponges, and some of the Deco Art paints that I purchased off Lisa last week, a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so I'm going to start off by using the terra coral. So like a terracotta colour, so I'm just going to give it a bit of shake. Just putting a little bit on my messy mat. Perfect and ideal for this. And I'm also going to be using the natural buff as well. Pretty colours that go really well together. So I'm going to be using the natural buff first, just to get a bit of colour down onto this tag. And I use a makeup sponge, just dabbing lightly, getting the pattern onto the tag. I like using makeup sponges because I feel like I've got more control over, you know, how the paint behaves. And it's also a nice thinnish layer, because we're going to be building up quite a few layers on this tag. So it's quite a pale colour, so you might have trouble seeing it. But I will take pictures after I've finished and post them in the group so you can see the details. Okay. Right, I'm going to leave that to one side. There we go. That looks pretty. Some nice texture going on in there. I'm just going to use my heat tool to dry it, so excuse the noise. If you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments and we can get to either myself or one of the other design team members will get to you as soon as we can. Hope you can see this okay. I tried to get my camera a bit closer to my mat, but it wasn't. There we go. Now I'm going to use the terra coral and one of the new beautiful mandala stencils. It's absolute. The detail on it is divine, and I'm in love with these. And I'm just going to lay that on there, and it's the same makeup sponge. Just a quick tip for you as well, if you do use makeup sponges, if they go a bit hard and dry, just snip off the hard bit and just keep snipping it off until you've obviously used the rest of the sponge. But that's, just a quick tip for you if you use those. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that on there. Quite satisfying, isn't it, stenciling? I love it. Just going to put a drop of water in this paint, see if it goes a bit further. There we go. It's beautiful acrylic paint, this Deco Art. I mean, they're only little bottles, but they last ages. Just getting a good coverage on here. And let's lift that off and have a look. Oh, that looks pretty, doesn't it? Yeah, I like that. And I'm just going to do the same up here in this top bit. And this is messy craft. This is about as messy as I get. So, yeah, I do like to get a bit messy now and again. Okay. Now, I want to tone down that terra coral a little bit. So I'm just going to dry that off again. And I'm going to tone it down a bit. And I'll show you how I do that. Okay. So I'm just going to realign the stencil back up. If I can find the pattern. There we go. And I'm just going to use some of that natural buff again and just lightly dab over the coral. And this will just tone down that colour so it's not so vivid. See if I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's better. Okay, just lining that up again. So I've gone into a zone. I'm in the zone. That's why I've gone quiet, because I'm quite happy doing what I'm doing. Right, okay. Just dry that off again. I want it to be completely dry for the next stage, so. Hi Angie, welcome. So I'm just drying that off. And now I'm going to use some, I've got some Distress Oxide here, I've got Tattered Rose. It's quite a similar colour to that natural buff. Just grab my dauber. And just doing up the edges so you get a nice, I don't know whether you can see it, we just still get a nice, it's not so stark white around the edges, and I didn't want anything you know, too dark on it. Oh, my ink, my dauber storage, yeah, I've only got 3 of these. And I just wanted, rather than on the bottom of the pads, I'll just show you. Mine are on it's just a piece of A4 copy paper, and I laminated it, and then I just put the names of the Distress Oxide. See, I haven't got many colours, I don't own many colours. Sorry, that's gone in all the paint. Yes, and then I've just put like a hook and loop circle on to hold them in place, and yeah, it works for me. Yeah, we all like storage, don't we, as crafters? Okay. Right, so I'm just going to leave that there for a moment. Next up, we have obviously the textures stamp. It wouldn't be a Facebook Live without these. And I'm using the script. And I'm just going to grab a piece of paper as well. And with that tattered rose, just inking that up well. Oh, the definition, you can only just see it, but it is there. And on this side there. That's what I love about mixed media, because there are no rules. Just go for it. Okay, while that Distress Oxide is still wet, I've mixed some of Lisa's embossing glitter. The fine glitter, the white one, with some clear embossing powder. So I'm just going to sprinkle that over while the Distress Oxide is still wet. Like so. Give that a gentle tap. Okay, I'm just going to heat that up and melt that embossing powder. I can see the glitter starting to really sparkle, so I know that that is going to, that it's melting really well. Right, the tag is starting to buckle a little bit, but it's fine. There we go. So I don't know whether you can see that detail. Yeah. Okay. Just grab my spray and give that a bit of a clean off. Okay. So the next thing is I have the air dry clay that I made earlier. Is some of it has been painted, some of it hasn't. I also used the sentiment stamps in the stamp set, like the ticker tape, the Stay Positive and the Choose Happy. And you can also stamp the sentiments into the air dry clay as well. And then I just used the metal ruler to square them off. And you can just about see the sentiments on them. It says Stay Positive and Choose Happy. So I'm just going to paint this one that I'm missing. And I've got a stencil brush here that I use. It is a little bit damp and I just need a little bit more buff paint. So like I say, I've done three to save a bit of time. And I like to use the stencil brush because it's quite firm and it gets into all the nooks and crannies of the print, you know, the imprint into the clay. Like I say, it is quite a pale colour, but I'm going to zhuzh it up in a minute and you'll see what I do to give it a bit more bling. I'm just painting the edges as well, like so. And I'm a complete novice at, you know, this kind of art and mixed media art. You know, I've not had much experience at all, but it's just something that really appeals to me. And I thought, you know, when something appeals to you, just have fun with it, you know, do what you love. If you like it, then that's all that matters. So I just thought I'd share, you know, some tips and tricks on, you know, different techniques and what have you. Okay, so I'm just going to let that one dry. I'm just going to wash my brush. Okay, and I'm going to do that one in the terra coral. Can you, I don't know whether you can see. Oh, hi Caroline, yes, no worries. It'll be saved in the group if you want to catch up at a later date. You can just see the stay positive there on that. So it doesn't matter how long you've been crafting, whether it's been 5 minutes or 50 years, you know, try something new. I like to try something new every day. If there's a technique I've never tried before, you know, give it a whirl. If it all ends in disaster, nobody needs to know. And that was one thing I was worried about this demo. I thought, oh, it's going to be a disaster. Nobody's going to like it. But at the end of the day, I like it, and that's all that matters. And I'm having fun. Sorry, there's a bit of a ridge on there, so the paint's not going on very well, but I don't want it to be too thick because otherwise it will distort the sentiment itself. Okay. It's like being a kid again, isn't it? It's like crafting is like, you know, what we did as children, and we've just taken it up into adult life. Okay, right, that'll do, I think. Just let that one dry. So I'm just going to dry these off. I'm hoping this doesn't take too long. Can somebody shout up if I've gone over 30 minutes? Jane, get off, you've been on too long. Okay. They should be fine. Now, the next step I'm going to do is, I've got some of Lisa's crushed ice mica powder here. It is potent stuff. You get absolutely loads of it in a tub, and you only need the smallest amount. So I'm just going to pop a little bit, just grab a brush. Just going to pop a bit on here. There we go. I think that might be enough. See, I've only got that tiny little bit there. And I'm just going to mix that with some water. I don't want to spray it with a spray bottle because it'll end up flying everywhere. Okay, right, that should do it. And it's in sort of like a paste. It's not very watery, but it is quite of like a paste. If I need some more, I can do some more. Okay, I'm just going to dab my finger in it, and it becomes a bit like a gilding paste, I suppose, a gilding wax, and just rub it over the detail. And it just brings out the pattern on there. I'll do it on the darker one and you might be able to see it better. There we go, see if that's better. There we go, it's quite blingy. I'll just do the same on this one. Okay. It's quite subtle on the buff colour, but I think it really pops on the terra coral. It would look fabulous on black as well. Okay. And it brings out that sentiment as well, I think. Right, I'm not going to waste, so I'm just going to put my lid back on there. I don't want that to go everywhere. I think we've all had accidents like that before. Just as another tip as well, obviously it's not just the crushed ice, you can do it with all of Lisa's mica powders. I've got the 4 colours, the raspberry, the blue, the green and the yellow. I'm also not going to waste this paint, so let's get rid of that paintbrush. I'm just going to spritz that with water. Let's get some smushing going in here, see how this turns out. Don't waste it. There we go. That'll do. Just get rid of that mess. Okay, so for this, I'm just going to start and arrange them. When I cut the clay out with the cookie cutters, I laid them over the tag where I wanted them, and then I just used either something like this or a metal ruler just to sort of, you know, score the line of the clay of where I wanted it to sit. So this one is going to go to the bottom here, and it should line up like that. And I'm just going to use some glue. Make sure my glue's coming out okay. Yeah. So I even wrote on the bottom of it, bottom. So I know where to put it. And I'm just using the silicone glue because obviously that gives you some wiggle room as well to, you know, place it where you want to place it. This is the top one. There we go. Squish them down. And then I have some sisal, and it's just this little piece here. And I'm just going to pop a bit of hot glue on there. And just hold it down with my pokey tool till it sets. Okay. Then I've got some hot glue string, some more glue gel. I'm just going to pop that on there. I'm just going to hold that down for a moment. Okay, that's nicely in place. I've also got this wooden embellishment. It's an MDF embellishment, and I've just painted this with some silver Deco Art acrylic paint. And again, I'm just going to lay the glue on there. just lay on that nicely. So I'm just going to give this size a little bit of a haircut. There you go. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't use some of Lisa's Daisy Burst flowers. And I've also painted these, I stamped these with the same acrylic paints. So my fingers are a bit sticky with the glue. Okay. Sorry if I'm missing the comments, guys. I do apologise. I will get back to you, I promise. But I think those mandalas really set it off, especially on the mandala background as well. I think it looks pretty neat. Okay, so I'm just going to adhere one of the sentiments at the top. Need a bit more glue on there actually, to give it a bit more height. That's better. Up there. So we've got choose happy and stay positive down the bottom. Okay, I'm just trying to think if I've missed anything. I don't think I have. The only thing to finish it off is I've got a piece of organza ribbon here, and I think I should just try and pop that through there without disturbing my glue. Like I say, I'm a complete novice at mixed media, but if I can do that, anybody can. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with how that turned out. Sorry it was a bit of a rush. I would have taken more, obviously more time, but I just think the colours work well together. Obviously Lisa's stamps are perfect for stamping into air dry clay, as long as you put them into water straight after so you don't ruin the stamps. It shouldn't anyway because they're photopolymer, but just to be on the safe side, get rid of that any traces of clay up your stamps before you stamp with ink. So yeah, that's it from me today. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next week. I haven't come up with anything yet, so watch this space. The May challenge, I believe, is still open. Dawn's working tirelessly to you know, make sure there's different competitions and what have you running for you. Products, the new products, the mandalas, I think they're still available on Create and Craft if you wanted to go on there and check out the stamp sets. They are so beautiful, I cannot tell you. And any other bits and bobs that you might need from Lisa are available on her website. That's www.thatcraftplace.co.uk. So I really hope you've enjoyed that, and if you wanted to give it a go, feel free, ask me any questions, and I will obviously do what I can to help you. But I'm a novice as well, so we'll help each other, shall we? So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, everybody. Take care, and each other. Bye-bye.